Check 1 2. Is that better? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Looks like it's back on. Let me make sure that the sound is okay. Looking at the stream. Hello, 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 hello. That is interesting. Are we good? No sound. No sound. Good? Better? Yes? Working better? No, not working. Okay. I'm going to take it that it is working. Yeah, good. Okay. Sorry about that. I have no idea what that was all about. But we're good. So, let's do this, shall we? I'm going to switch over to the other camera. I'm seeing audio levels at this point much better. Good, 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 good. All right, here we go. Here we go. I legit have not opened this, so let's move the microphone a little closer and turn it up. It's going to sound a little gnarly, but that's life. Make sure I don't hit my soundboard or cut my leg open, because that would suck. Or kill the cable on my headphones. That would also suck. All right, so we have a ginormous bag. And for those, someone's asking about the live stream, we're doing OBS for the software. Oh my gosh. It is pretty heavy, as you would imagine. So let's X-nay the box. Set it down. Okay, we got a little bit of tape on, and this is why I hate unboxings. But I figured live would be fun, because we can chat and chill and not watch some guy open a box. Exclusively. All right. And there she blows. All right. Let me turn this mic down before I blow everybody's ears up. So, typical case design. Really love these cases. This one is actually super big, so you could actually use this like a Pelican replacement. And I'm not going to start with the manual and the stickers. I'm going to go straight for the gold. There it is. It is definitely a little longer, as those of you who have seen it in person know, compared to the 120D. Let me flip it around so you guys can actually see it. And got a cover here for the actual COB. Take that off. That's a nice feature. I'm going to film or peel the little film off. Don't forget to take this off. Yeah, you could destroy your light. I almost didn't take it off one of my other ones. And there it is. There's that massive, massive chip. And what's cool about this one, for those that don't know, is there's actually a little filter here to, I believe, cut out a small spike, either magenta or green. So we'll have to see. Right. Yoke is a little different. Actually pretty similar. A little larger maybe. So there it is. All right, I'm hoping to fire this thing up and see how bright it is directly behind us. So let's, for now, stick it right back there. Got your standard accessories that come with everything else. The biggest difference from the 120D is going to be the noticeably larger control unit. So this is, I'd say, not quite double the size of the one that comes with the 120D. It's pretty much the 120D version and then all this extra space here. Same controls from the look of it. Fan, we can force it or auto, which is good. And then we've got our two V-mount batteries, which will need some substantial batteries to actually make this work. Okay, now let's plug this in. I should have given myself an extension cord. So we'll just fire it up. I really want to see like if I can blow out the background behind my G7 shot. And I am going to be doing a bunch of videos on this, obviously the review. Why am I feeling like an idiot right now? Oh, that's right, we got to get this guy. Oh, this is also a difference. Prepare yourself. Totally forgot about this. And this is the power transformer. Monstrous unit, especially compared to the comparably tiny guy from the Look at the size of this thing. On off. Input jacks and whatnot. Looks like a power, or like a big PC power supply. It's got the fan and everything right there. So let's just do this, shall we? Plugging in power cable, just as short as all the other ones that they send along with it. Nice cable wraps. I appreciate it. A bit laggy. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I'm seeing on the screen there, it looks like it's struggling a little bit up there. Alright, so we're going to connect the AC to DC ginormous transformer to the control unit. Like so. Hopefully. Oop. Nope. This one goes to the light. So we've got a 4-pin. The 4-pin goes to the light itself. I think. Wrong again. What's going on here? Am I missing something? There's another cable there. Okay, so here's our 5-pin. So they come with two different 4-pin and a 5-pin. 5-pin. Okay, here we go. I was upside down. 5-pin goes from the unit, the control unit. Oh, this is going to get real interesting with all these cables. To the actual light itself. I see we're lagging a lot, guys. I'm going to change one more setting right there. Let's see if that helps at all. Hopefully. Hopefully that helps. Right, so let's go ahead and finish connecting this. And I did not think this through. How awkward this would be with all these cables. And we're going from the 4-pin to the bottom, the input on the control unit. So you can see where this is going to get really interesting. It's required for this much wattage, but it's going to be unique when you're trying to set this up and rig it all up. So I'm going to set this on the floor. Okay. And we're going to plug this thing into the wall. I'm going to quickly do that number. Put that on the floor. Bear with me. My plug here is underneath the desk. So this will be unique. Okay. Let's see here. Ugh. Hopefully I didn't just unplug something important. Okay, I think we're good. So let's switch back to the other camera. Boom. What's going on? Let's drop this down here, do this number, and I've got the light. I'm going to throw the dome dealio on here, which will, I believe, take it from a 120 degree beam angle to a 60, I believe. Let's do it. Hopefully. Unless I connected it wrong. Which I may have just done, because nothing's happening. Hopefully it works. That would be unfortunate, wouldn't it? Everything's plugged. Oh, that's right. We got to turn on the transformer. One sec. All right. Okay, transformer is on. Trying to listen for fan noise. Definitely a little bit there. And boom, it's on. That is 10%. Oh man. And that's 100%. Wow, is that bright? That is intense. Okay, I'm gonna go look at my camera settings here. We are at f2.5, 50th shutter, 200 ISO. And that's telling me that's way blown out back there. So looks like we have a decent amount of output. Yeah, that's pretty bright. Not even gonna, it's warm too. This is really warm. So there it is, 300D. The background behind me is probably about 10, 12 feet behind me, so decently far. It's all really dark too. There's nothing really light back there, and there's currently an Aputure 672 lighting the background, so not bad. Yeah, I'm really stoked. It is definitely toasty, guys. Right here, this is near the edge of becoming uncomfortable. So it's got some heat to it. This is going to warm up a space. We're getting away from, LEDs that are cool touch. You would not want to touch the front of this COB. Fans, silent. Actually, they're not even spinning, which is really interesting. Got some fan modes. We can go from auto to forced. So there's on. I'm going to put this right next to the microphone. What you're hearing is my computer wailing and my RAID setup over there. But I can't hear anything with it when I put it up against the mic. So yeah, portable for outdoor shooting, 3BP. Yes, this is what's really exciting, guys. There's a couple things. Number one is that as long as you have two V-mounts that you connect to this unit right here, you could take this out into the woods and with two batteries start firing a ton of light around. So that's really awesome. The other is the output, considering it's an LED. That's really, 300 watts. I'm going to do some tests and see how this compares to other lights because I don't think there's a lot of information out there. But it's going to be really, really bright. And the other thing is the size. Granted, you have all this external stuff, but the point is you can take this beast of a light and put it on a C-stand and, hang it somewhere that you wouldn't even dare hang, like a HMI, a 1K, anything like that. So let's jump into some questions. Do you have any questions about this, about the 300D? Let me grab the other unit here. These cables could be a little longer. I'm finding that for sure. Oh yeah, you can hear that fan. Woo doggy. That is the transformer. The light isn't even on right now. So you're going to want to keep this definitely further away from your audio, because that is pretty gnarly. Okay. Peel the plastic off, please. Yes. Yeah, we did. We definitely did, because that would be a nightmare. What's that burning smell? Yes, you can put the Fresnel attachment on the front, so that'll be pretty stoked, pretty excited about that. I could grab that if people are interested. Yeah, so for noise, the unit itself is really quiet. I had the fans on force, so they were turned on, no problems. The power supply unit, though, that goes before this, so we go from the wall to the power supply to this, and that's noisy. That's crazy noisy. So you'll want to keep that far away. Weight, the light itself is definitely heavier than the 120D. So my guess is at least 1.5 120Ds. But considering what all is in here, I'm not worried about that. But it is pretty heavy. This guy isn't bad. It's not much heavier than the 120D version. The power supply is pretty heavy because it's kind of like if you took 3 or 2 PC power supplies and put them back to back and a little shorter. Is the light only for video? No, you could totally use that for, you wouldn't want to use it as like a house lamp, but you could definitely use it for photos. Could I make a review of an ARRI light? No, but I'm going to be doing a collaboration with some people local to this area in northwest of Chicago. And we're going to try to compare this light to a Joker 400, a Joker 800, and some ARRI lights. So I think M18 was one of them, a 1K, a 2K, and then I'll throw in for kicks like the Came TV 150 watt and the 120D. So I'm really excited about that. And there's another light I can't remember that we're going to try to compare it to. So do some legit tests. Can you control the focus? Yes. I don't have it in this room, but in the next room over, I have that Fresnel that Aputure makes, and it's pretty affordable. I want to say it's 50 to 75 bucks, and you can slap that on the front of it and get a crazy powerful punchy light. Yeah, let's see here. Awesome. Hey, what's up, Bart? You're getting one too? Sweet. Looking forward to seeing everybody's reviews. What C-stand brand do I like for these and other lights? I use a lot of Impact C-stands. They're a little more affordable than Matthews and other stuff. They're legit heavy-duty hardcore. So it's, Matthews actually makes a slightly smaller one. That's a great question. I should go over all the stands I use sometime. But Impact makes a lot of good ones. They also have a lot of nice ones with wheels. Sully's debating getting RE kits for lights or a bunch of Aputures. Yeah, that's. Are you talking about LED or actual like tungsten daylight? Because that would be interesting. You'd love to see the Fresnel. Okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to put my headphones down. I'm going to disappear for 15 seconds, not even, more like 5, and I'll be right back with the Fresnel. And I'm back. So here's the Aputure Fresnel. If you're considering picking one up, there are some things that the photos will not tell you. First and foremost, it's mostly plastic. Kind of a matte plastic, which I don't know how that's going to hold up on this bright of a light. There is an aluminum rim, the actual Fresnel lens, which is glass, which is good. And then to adjust it, there's a little knob right here. You loosen, and then you just move it in and out. That's simple, right? So let's put it on the light, shall we? See what kind of a focus beam we can get. I'd imagine it'll get us to 20 or less, but I'm not positive. So I'm going to take off this hood, find a place to set it. Bowens mount, pops in, fire up the light. Okay. So there you go. That's pretty legit. Nice and focused there. Yeah, that's real tight. Now you will notice, see those rings wherever that is over here? That's these vents. You can see all these vents here. And that's what's going on with that. So you could cover that up, but I'm starting to get a little bit of a potentially slowly melting plastic smell. So I would not cover these up. I don't feel, there's a decent amount of heat. So you'll have to figure that out, but you could potentially wrap this somehow with some black wrap. But that's pretty punchy. Again, the wall is about 10, 12 feet behind me. Okay shadows. And then, of course, to adjust it. So I would say that's, I don't know, 10 to 15 on the tight end to maybe 20, be my guess. Something like that. I'm going to set this down. Wow, that is something else. I'm excited. I'm stoked to start doing some interesting stuff with it. And obviously, it's a little overkill for just a one-person interview, but could totally work well for some big stuff, which I'm excited to try. Okay, outdoors shining into an interior. Yeah, you could do that for sure. Sully, let's see. When will I use this light? What situations? So specifically what I want to try is taking this upstairs and do rooms that have white walls or ceilings, specifically ceilings, and just hit the ceiling and get a beautiful soft light falling across the entire room. Then you could use another light for your key light. So how many times have you, like, this is a perfect example what you're looking at right now. I've got my key light, and what happens to the rest? It all gets super dark because I'm exposing for my face. So the idea is I don't have any white ceilings in here, but if the ceiling was white, I could bounce this light onto the ceiling and it'd get a nice soft light everywhere. And you could take a dark room and brighten it up a lot. It would be awesome for realtor people. So if you're doing real estate videos, tours, you could just slap one of these at the ceiling and kind of light up the whole room, which would be really fun. A space light that Aputure also makes would do that. I also am excited about using it for a key for a wide shot with a big silk and a couple other things like that. But it's pretty exciting what it can do. Okay. Yeah, or bouncing it instead of diffusion for a key would be great. How am I lighting myself now? I have a flexible mat. It's not the Westcott, it's the alternatives I've done a video on from Falcon Eyes. And it's just on a C-stand and right up here. And it works really well. What's up, Aputure? How are you? Whoever is on the other end of that. Oh snap, Acrylic says. Aputure showed up. Don't mess up. Yeah, at least they weren't here, hopefully, for the beginning. That was a disaster. Right on. Any other questions about the light? Or anything? Let me scroll up, make sure I didn't miss anything. What should I get for my first light kit and not much money? What I would recommend for any light kit, and you can start with one light and slowly add to it, but the ideal kit for me is one high-powered light, whether that be something like this or a 120D, and then at least one medium to small light. So I'll have my key light with that big powerful light, and then I'll have a small light I can use for my background or hair. Actually, check it out. And this is hilarious that these are all Aputure lights, but they're all next to me for some reason. Probably from the last live stream since I haven't cleaned up in here, as you can see from the background. H198, we talked about this in the LED light live stream we recently did. $50, I think. Decent little light. I use these for my backgrounds because you can gel them real easy. And then the one mini 20D. Both of these would be great secondary lights. So, or you get this as your main light, and then this is your secondary light. And the beauty is you can get a light that maybe isn't as powerful as you'd like. So let's say you can't afford a 120D. You could buy this light, use it as your key light. Then when you're ready to pick up a bigger light, you can then, retire this to a background light or a hair light. So usually 2 lights is all I use. And I've been doing that for a long time, and I don't really use 3 lights. And then, more little lights are always great. So having like 3 of these things, they can actually link together, is really handy because you can just, I just want a little light over here or a little light over there. Actually, I can just grab this battery right here as an example. Fire it up. All right, let's just fill in that a little bit. Or a little bit over here, a little bit over there. It's just really handy to have as a bunch of them. And you can throw them on cheap stands all over the space you're shooting in. So yeah, super bright light, or as bright, not super duper bright, but something for your key light and at least one other light. And then from there you can just add little ones. Going back down to the bottom. Price, yes, as Jeremy said, it's pretty much $1,100 for the 300D. Ooh, this is a good question. Would you rather use a Westcott Flex or an Aputure 120D? That would depend on what I shoot. So the Flex light is fantastic for travel. So if you're finding yourself hopping on a plane and flying somewhere, shooting interviews all the time, the Flex is really hard to beat. You can actually hide it in the lid of your Pelican. Just take the foam down, Velcro it, and then foam back. You're done. There's like no packing to it. Output is pretty good too. It's not even not going to come close to a 120D, so keep that in mind. But that's great. If you want a ton of soft light, as we know from the videos I've talked about or done in the past, you need lots of output to start with because you're going to start putting things in front of it and cutting down on that, and that's where the 120D is awesome. Or if you need a punchy light like this setup right here, That's going to give you a really, really punchy light, and the Westcott is just not going to be able to do that for you. Would I be worried about the light being way warm for actors? No. Yes, it's warmer than other LEDs I've worked with, but it's not even close to like an Arri 650. Not even remotely close. So I wouldn't worry about heat much. If you're in like a closet for an hour, you know, it might get a little toasty. And I had the light like right here, and that's when I was like, whew, that's warm. Color temp for 300D. I'm trying to remember. I want to say it is 5600. I have this open. Let's check it out, because I know the 120D is 6. Let's go to specs, shall we? Okay, so it's 5500 Kelvin plus or minus 200. So there you go. So your light might be 53 or 5700 Kelvin. So yeah. I'll get back to the questions here. Got all this giant stuff on my desks. Best, cheapest light kit setup. I've done a bunch of videos on that. I would say 250 to 500 is as little as I would spend on lights. Well, I take that back. You could go to Amazon, buy a bunch of cheap soft boxes and LED bulbs and do it that way. But yeah, you probably put a little more toward it to get some nice quality out of that. Okay, there it is. Aputure got us our back, 5500 Kelvin. Favorite light? I can't pick a favorite light. There's too much cool stuff happening right now in the LED world. So it's just, there's so many different form factors too, which is really exciting. It's not just like a softbox light and a Fresnel. We've got crazy stuff like this. We've got all these flexible LEDs, which are really exciting. Small little stick things. There's lots of cool stuff right now. Thanks, Otto. I'll do my best to keep up the work. How did I start making money in filmmaking? I didn't make traditional films or short films. I did that on the side, but I got started in corporate stuff. So like filming interviews of CEOs and marketing directors talking about products and businesses. So that's what got me started, and it was good because the repetition of how to light people and how to light interviews was really, really good. Just hundreds of interviews, so many interviews, and lighting those and filming those and learning how to do that really well before, you know, I moved on to other stuff and going full-time here. Let's see. What's up, DSLR video shooter? This is from North Star Gaming. You literally have lighting dialed in better than most professional photographers, YouTubers. One piece of advice you would give about using unnatural light. Okay, so if you're not using a window or the sun and you're going to start using lights, the biggest thing, and I see this all the time and I just want to get in there and help them move the light, but bring the light in as close as you can without it being in the shot. So all the time I see like the camera here, a light here, both pointing at a person. Bring that light as close as you can. So if you think about like this shot, if this were in my main studio, I have my light dome like just out of frame, as close as I can get it to myself. That's going to give you that nice soft light, because the further back you bring it, you lose more light. It's not going to be as soft. So bring the lights in as close as you can. Like this light right here, I'm touching it right now, the edge of it. So it's really close to the lens of the camera. That would be a good place to start, is bring the light in and then experiment with angles. Don't just put it down here or even level. Try to go for this, experiment with it. Do a high key like I am right now. Like right now I'm facing it, so it's pretty far up, but play around with it. Do I have any of the Came TV lights? How do they compare with the 120D and 300 from Walt B? I do have a bunch of Came TV lights. I haven't tested them yet. I've really like their little guy, so this is going to get awkward, but kind of the competitor to this. And what's interesting is, and I'm not just saying this because Aputure might be in the comments, but this light and their light each have really great strong suits that the other doesn't have. So we'll talk about that in the future in a actual video, but they do make some really good stuff. But I haven't really tried it, so I can't really speak to the quality of the LED color or output or anything like that. Did I go to film school? No. I started school or college at a community college to bang out the general ed stuff. Hated every second of it except for my economics class. That was a lot of fun. And quit after one semester. So I said I'll finish the semester and then I'm out. Was going to take a year to just learn video and study that on my own, and then it turned into eventually leading to this. I did look into film school, but these days, depending on what school you're going to, obviously, 100, 200K is so much better spent, I think, than putting it into film school. If you want to really be in film maybe, and you want to be on, legit sets in Hollywood, but even then, you drive out there, find a place to stay, go to the nearest rental company or production house and say, hey, I'll sweep 24/7 for free, and work your way up from there. Or I'll clean your studio bathrooms. I don't know, something like that. I feel like that working your way up and showing that you've got a work ethic and all that stuff would do so much more than just, I'm a pretentious film school student. Now, just to say that, I'm not ripping on anyone who's going to film school. There's some huge pros to doing that. If you feel like a classroom environment, or you need something to get you out there and find people, help you find people to do film with, then that would make a lot of sense. Right. How can you work? Let's see. Best lens for this light. Are you talking about Fresnel lenses? Just a second ago, I was using the Aputure one, but I know there's other ones out there. The tricky thing is all the beam angles are different with all these LEDs. Wow, that is toasty, folks. If you get close to that puppy, you're not going to get burned, but you're going to feel it. Yeah. Yeah, $100,000 to $200,000 is a decent amount of cash, for sure. Cable holding knob that most people have no idea what it is in the top pocket of the case. Oh, cool. And screws into the yoke. Awesome. Thanks, Bart. So apparently in here there's a little cable organizer. Yeah, I would agree, Sean. Film school is a great networking tool. And it is nice because you're in a room and in a school filled with people who love and are trying to do what you want to do and love, which is awesome. It is kind of lonely out there if you're in Nebraska and you want to learn about film. Now for video, that's a little different, but for specifically film, that can be really tough. All right. Why is it so expensive? I would consider this not very expensive to have. If the CRI ratings and TLCI are all where they should be and are legit, then that's ridiculous to get that quality with a 300 watt, whatever output it is. It's a lot of light, and I'm excited to put it to work. So for $1,000, I mean, you look out there at something comparable, it's going to cost a lot more. Something from Felix, maybe. Yeah. Right. Have I tried the YN760 LED spot? This is from Champion Biz. You bought one and it's awesome. Oh, good. So you like it. I've read a lot of people didn't like that light and had various reasons for not liking it. So I never picked one up, but there you go. If from Amanda loves to audit. Auditing, that freaks me out. Just thinking of taxes, obviously. If you had a choice of the small HD focus or the Fieldworld F7, which would you go for? Hands down, the small HD focus. The F7 is a great budget 1080p monitor, but as I talked about in the review, the ergonomics are kind of funky, and I wouldn't go for that over the focus. It's cheaper, but the focus is crazy good. The small HD focus. Hey there, is it possible to start doing interviews and work in that field with little budget, horrible light, and decent sound? From Roberto. You never know. I mean, if you're getting started from scratch and you're not working with other more established people to get into it, it might be a little more difficult, but you can really start anywhere. I mean, I've known of people who just got some gear together, started doing videos for friends who had businesses, and then kind of free or super low budget stuff for coffee shops and whatnot. So yeah, totally doable. Which bulbs do I prefer for lights? This is from David. I did a video called LED bulbs. In that video, I talked about some bulbs that I liked. I like the Bond Lux 40 watt on Amazon. That's not bad if you're going to stick a bulb in a traditional light. All right. Okay, any suggestions for how to cheaply acoustically dampen a space? Yeah, there's a couple options. I don't know what kind of budget you're working in. The best cheap one that works is the Producer's Choice sound blankets. Those things are amazing. Let's go over here. I won't bother, but if you search for Producer's Choice sound blankets, they're these huge blankets that are designed to kind of soundproof, but also acoustically treat. So you throw one of those on the floor, they work great. My studio, my main shooting space, is loaded with those, and it does wonders since I have concrete floors here. Otherwise, just a butt ton of moving blankets from like Harbor Freight would be really cheap. They won't work as well, and you'll need to get a lot of them, but it's really, really affordable. It's better than nothing. Thank you, Red Cape Films, for the kind words. He says, watched the corporate video guide as a Canadian filmmaker, master's student. Fantastic, good stuff. Wow. So you really know what's what. That's great. What is your streaming setup? Quality looks fantastic. I should probably cover in detail what's going on with the stream, but I'm just using OBS 720p, I think. You guys can tell me if it's any higher. And I'm setting that up to YouTube. So, and then a G7, Panasonic G7 going into a little adapter dealio capture card. Hey Caleb, about to spend $500 on the basic light kit. Do I still stand by the $500 light kit? Any alternatives to your recommendations? Hey Aaron, thanks. I need to update that video or do some more videos, because since I did that, there's so many great lights that are out now, and I feel like every day there's something new. So I would check out the Flex Light Alternatives video where this light was talked about. Check that one out. Those lights in there would be a great thing to consider additionally. So definitely start there. How many fixtures can you chain to one remote? I thought I had a remote here on the desk. I want to say an Aputure, please jump in if you can think. It depends, because you could do 1 and 2, like 9 or more, depending on how you use the remote, because there's groups, so you can put a bunch of lights on one group and turn them all on and off with one button, or you can individually turn off lights with the 1 and 2 button, if I'm remembering correctly. So if you want just on and off, you can do a ton of lights. But if you want each little light to be able to individually change the brightness, then then there's limitations there. Just changing your camera's white balance to get light look. What? Does changing your camera white balance to get the white light look also change colors? Are we talking about like white, like this, where you have the correct exposure or the correct white balance? Or are you talking about like lighting a white background? But yes, essentially, if you change your white balance, all colors will change. So if you raise it or lower it, you're going to get cooler and warmer. Any updates on video tripods from Jimmy Snaps? Not really. I haven't bought. First of all, I've never bought like a really expensive tripod. I think the most expensive tripod I've purchased was $300 as a kit. So I'm not on a mountain range where I need some crazy Vinton or I can't remember the other one, starts with the M, not Manfrotto's, another one. But there's some great stuff out there. I have a hard time spending a lot on tripods because I don't really use them in a super intense way. So I have a bunch of cheap tripods and some budget ones. So I should probably do a video on that though. Difference between V-mount and gold mount batteries. Do they both clip on the same type of mount? No, they're different types. So essentially the big difference is V-mount, in my opinion, is sometimes easier to attach, but it's kind of wobbly and loose. So gold mount is a more secure connection. But in general, you can find the same style batteries, like the same wattage and or voltage and output and all that kind of thing. But there's more V-mount stuff out there, so keep that in mind. But things are getting better, and there's adapters. How about the 120D as a fill and the 300 as a key? You could totally do that. My guess, though, is they aren't going to match perfectly because welcome to the wonderful world of LEDs. I would prefer to either have one of those as a key light and then use some way to bounce that or a reflector. That would give you a more uniform color. That said, I'm sure it wouldn't be that big of a difference depending on the lights you had. Do I still use the Cine box? No, I don't use it as much because the focus, the small inch focus, kind of solved that. Yeah, I still have it. It's in one of the drawers over there. Sony a7S III coming soon from Is Top Pen. I Stop Pen. Cool. I'll have to look into that. I'm excited to see what Sony does with a7S III. Diminishing return hits hard for tripods, in your opinion. Yeah. I feel like I'm pretty good with cheap tripods. I don't need it's crazy. And these smaller cameras are less and less demanding, if you will. You can probably not even balance some of them on more expensive tripods. All right. Let's see. Any other questions here? What do I think of the new 8K red Monstro sensor? Game changer? I don't know if you're being serious or joking, but I love red pushing the envelope. And someday I'd love to own a red. Maybe not the newest thing, but some of their older stuff. In a previous live stream, we looked at what it would take to buy like a used Scarlet. So you could get into the red game for $7,000 or so, which is pretty cool. Awesome information. Thanks, Bart. He tested the 300D with two 98 watt-hour batteries, and it ran for 2.5 hours at 50%, 30 minutes at 100. Power-hungry little light. Yeah, that's, 300 watts for what it needs. That's crazy. Now, what amperage do you use for those? Because I'm curious of what, I know they have on their specs somewhere, what kind of amps you need. But you need to make sure they're the right batteries so you don't blow something up. What's up, North Star Gaming? Hey, Caleb, what's a good portable option that won't break the bank, but also change colors? I don't know if you're talking about changing the color temp or actual like RGB colors. Most things for on a really tight budget, YN or Yongnuo on Amazon. So YN 600, YN 1200. They have fans on them, but they're really, really bright and pretty legit little lights. That would be a good way to go. I guess it depends on the budget. I like these Falcon Eye mats. You can get into that, or there's another brand, Traver Lights, that makes a mat, and I think you can get one of those for like $100, and those are pretty awesome. I like those a lot. Sort of joking seems to be different than the other resolution. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's up with the old red. Lots of good stuff over there. Why am I using a shotgun microphone? That is a great question. One is the microphone I was using. Well, it's very isolating, so there's more rejection, except for the rear on this one. I would prefer like a cardioid shotgun, but a lot of voiceover artists actually use shotgun microphones, believe it or not. So the 416 from Sennheiser is really popular. The other reason is I can shoot a video here, and I can put this down here, and I would change the orientation, but I can hide it so that I can, not have the microphone in the shot, and it's a shotgun microphone, which is what it's designed for. So that's the reason I use that. Normally, you wouldn't see this, though. You would have a big, fat, juicy, large diaphragm. Carlo Timothy says, does the corporate video guide include documentation and invoicing and stuff, how to write proposals, etc.? The corporate video guide, so the guide I did with Corp and Tyson, it's a paid-for guide. We designed that to be future-proof, and it's not like, we don't like, here's the exact thing that you can print out. We go through, how do you come up with the perfect proposal invoicing for your situation. So we won't say like, here's how to do exactly, like type out and what fonts to use for line items, but we will tell you best strategies for line items, how to make sure you're not having too many line items so that your clients are like, well, what if we cut out this and we don't need 2 people on the camera team, do we? And stuff like that. And then proposals, exactly what to work through. How do you have a solid relationship with your clients so that the whole, really, spoiler alert, the whole theme with corporate video in general, and all you guys out there who do it for a living know exactly what I'm talking about, is relational and making sure that you calm their fears. If they're comfortable knowing that you have their back, then things are going to go so much better. And how do you do that? How do you give them the right information, the right amount of information to kind of let them relax and they know that their video guy has their back? Because video stuff is scary. There's a lot of budgets, a lot of money on the line, and all that good stuff. Do I like Audio Technica from Geek and Tech? I haven't played with much of their stuff. I had a microphone from them a long time ago that I can't even remember what it is, but I should check them out. I know they're making a lot of great stuff. A lot of people love their stuff. Hey, Caleb, do you think to update your bag videos, camera, lights, and sound? Yeah, I should probably do that. I still have the same bags. I don't travel as much locally for shoots, so that's less of a thing. But that system still works for me if I have to lug a bunch of stuff around. 10 amp draw. Awesome. So from Bart, make sure you get those 10 amp batteries for the 300D. Nice, Pixel 5. What's the best budget disco ball to help jazz up your videos? I don't know. I should get one, though. Well, that's inappropriate. Phone's ringing. Right on. Any other questions here? Great question from Grant Brown. How many lumens of light output would you need, or I need, to brighten a subject in daylight? So I don't underexpose the background. That's a great question. It's really going to depend, but that brings up a point that I'd love to address in a video. I want to talk about how much light do you actually need. So we have all these lights available, all these different lumens, watts. How do we figure out exactly what is the minimum for like a key light? So I'm going to try to do a video with slightly wider framing than this, or much wider, and talk about like, all right, if you're going to do you want soft lighting and X amount of diffusion, and you want f2.8, this is what you have to have at this distance. So I think that'd be interesting to cover. What are my thoughts on the Ronin M? Is it worth the money? I'm not wild about the big gimbals, but I know they're necessary if you want to fly something large. I've heard from friends who do production, from their friends, that there's been issues there. I believe on one shoot that I was told about, like it just crashed and not broke, but like it was just wigging out and they couldn't even use it. But that's like the only thing I've heard from them. So yeah. Gotta run, Caleb. Thanks for the show. It gave me a nice little editing break. Awesome, Bart. Happy editing, and hope you get some sleep tonight. As you said, I think earlier, you got a long gig going on. Next piece of gear you're going to buy. I think I just bought it, and that's the SLR Magic 2x anamorphic adapter. I've got the 133, and I used it yesterday, or 2 days ago, yesterday, and I love that thing with the GH5. So I shot at 4K with the 133, which takes that 16:9 and gives us 2:3:5 aspect ratio. I think my mic's peaking here. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. It looked great. I used it with a Nikon 50mm and really, really love it. So I'm excited to try the 2X and shoot legit anamorphic and do a video on anamorphic. And I'm working on my GH5 guide. Got several sections of that filmed. And that's going to be a beast, because that camera, the more I use it, and this is why I haven't done a GH5 review yet, the more I use it, the more I find a whole new room of stuff. There's so much in that camera, it's ridiculous. And there's so many powerful uses for the different settings. So that guide is going to be an animal, and there's going to be a lot in it, but I'm really stoked, because that camera is just around every corner. It's blowing my mind. Yeah, anamorphic should be fun. With that camera, like you can do anamorphic in a lot of cameras, but with that camera, they thought of everything. Like if you think about 16:9 and you add a 133 adapter, normally you wouldn't have a D-squeeze for that, but this monitor has D-squeezes for every single type of adapter in lens and aspect ratio. So it's crazy good stuff. Got 100% great vids for music video, a lot of stuff, 3 actors. How to edit, I'm not sure exactly what you mean there. Looking for a couple of the questions. We'll wrap up here in a bit. Yeah, that was a great question. Thank you for that, Acrylic Studios. What are you guys buying next? I'm curious. Do I think Panasonic's going to give us a G80/85 firmware update? I don't think so. I don't think we'll get anything super exciting. I think they're, putting all their work into R&D for the GH line, but I could be wrong. I'd love to be wrong. What are my thoughts on the lenses? So the SLR Magic lenses from Simon Wendell. I've used them a little bit in the past. I wasn't massively blown away with the quality of them, but it's one of the best ways to get a nice little metal lens that is fast. So they have a lot of fast little glass. Now, I don't know about their legit anamorphic lenses. I'm really excited about those. So they are a great budget option. And I'd love to try their anamorphic lenses someday. Have I considered any of the Blackmagic line of cameras? Maybe once. I'm excited about their raw stuff, but I am not quite convinced that they're the most stable cameras. So yeah, I feel like they're always so close, but just not quite there with their cameras. Light recommendations for a stage or church we record and stream to YouTube. That's a good question. I don't really know anything about lighting stages. I'm sure you could use stuff that has a remote and everything. Yeah, I would imagine something like these Aputure 120Ds would work. I don't know what kind of distances you're working with, but that might be a better question for someone at B&H because they do a lot of that stuff or sell a lot of those lights. I just don't know. Nikon D850. So this is what a couple things you guys said you're buying next. Olympus 60mm f2.8. I haven't heard of that. Or no, yeah, okay. So yeah, I haven't played with that. So let me know how it goes. Buying the camera Sony is going to announce on the 18th. Oh, is there an event coming up? Buying the small HD focus monitor. Heck yeah, Amanda. That thing is a beast. I love that monitor. It's so good. So good. You're gonna buy a G7 with a Metabone speed booster and Canon lenses, Sigma 18-35. Nice. I found an adapter that isn't a speed booster, but it's just a standard adapter, but it does have the electronics, and it seems to be working except for that 18-65, which stinks. I don't know why that camera is such a pain in the butt. Next purchase is either going to be a GH5 or possibly stepping it up to a C200 or EVA1. Wow. Yeah, all great options. I'm excited to see what's up with the EVA1 as well. Do you only shoot with DSLM, mirrorless DSLRs, cameras, or do you ever shoot with something bigger? I've shot with Canon cinema cameras, but I haven't really made the jump for a couple reasons to something larger. I'd love to have like a used red Scarlett someday, but to do all of this and to be purchasing or renting those cameras all the time would get really expensive. So for the most part, there's rentals always, but for the most part, I use the mirrorless stuff because like the GH5, I mean, I have a hard time seeing myself needing something more than that for almost anything. All right, gonna jump down and catch back up with you guys. Best cheap lens, good question. FD lenses. I've got a video coming out maybe tomorrow. I'm a little behind, but I'm hoping to get it out tomorrow or Friday, and it's on 3 lenses, each under $20 to $30. Very interesting. New Lilliput monitor. I haven't checked it out, but I've seen good things. I know one of the newer ones they have, there's some other stuff that's a little more affordable that's very similar. Shogun versus small HD focus. Totally different. Really hard question. Recorder versus small, more affordable monitor, I guess. Best budget less than $300 YouTuber camera. Something from Sony or Panasonic used. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Sony A5000, A5100, something like that might work. Separate audio potentially. I do have a video coming up on 7 cameras under $300. I feel like a broken record saying that. I need to get that done. Best overall Micro Four Thirds lens, GH4 from Simon. 12 to 35. Super lame answer, but it's just so good. That thing is awesome. And it's going to be working with the Dual IS2, which is pretty fantastic. Awesome. Michael Schmidt. He's in here with some great recommendations for speed boosters and whatnot, or alternatives, rather. Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the review of this guy. And again, I'm going to try to get together some other filmmakers here in the area and do some kick-in comparisons between this and some big boy lights and see what we're looking at for that. Thank you so much for watching. Hit me up with questions in the comments below if you're watching afterward. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow for a fresh video. Otherwise, it's going to be Friday. But yeah. It's been great. You guys are the best. Thank you for the questions, and have a great night.